now, this is the moment where I should just hand over to Greg, because this is his boat. It wasn't his boat at the beginning of his career, but it's very much his boat of the day now. The men's eights. For some, for many, the blue ribbon final. And this should be a cracker with the German Olympic champions. But we'll start with France over the far side. They put their eggs into one basket here to really try and make a statement. Hasn't come off, yes. They were only fourth in the European Championship. Julien Dupré in the stroke seat. Next to them, Great Britain, who came through by the repechage route. Andrew Triggs, Hodge, of course, Olympic gold medals in the stroke seat. Phelan Hill, the man with the master plan for the crew. But also, of course, Pete Reed, Alex Gregory in that boat as well. And the United States, they were fourth in the Olympic Games. Only three of that crew have survived here. Thomas Pesek in the stroke seat, Zachary Vlahos with the race plan, and to the Olympic champions. Now, the Olympic champions, Germany, Reinelt at 3, Wilkie at 4, Schmidt at 7, Johansson at stroke, Sauer, the coxswain. Those are the survivors from last year's London Olympic achievers. But the crew is exactly the same as the one that lifted the title in Seville. What would it be? May, so we're July now, so a month and a half ago. We're not finished yet, because we've got the Netherlands in lane number 5 and fifth in the Olympics, and the only man who's found a way back in the boat is the coxswain, Peter Viersum. Gilbert Viergever is the stroke. Third in Europe behind Germany, and finally, last but not least again, Poland, runners-up ahead of Holland in the European Championships, who gave Britain a real run for their money in the Eton World Cup. And it's exactly the same crew, and the crew that also finished 7th in the Olympic Games a year ago. The final race of the Samsung World Cup Series for 2013, the blue ribbons, the men's eights.
And the real exciting thing here is seeing this German crew, who are the Olympic champions, coming up against the Americans, coming up against the British, where, as we know, Jürgen Grobler has put all of his best rowers, all of that Cox's 4, the 3 remainders, all in this Great Britain 8, and see which way is this going to go. Just looking there at the Great Britain 8, Pete Reed is back in the 7 seat. He had been in the 3 seat yesterday, but Great Britain have changed the order on bowside overnight because they weren't happy with how it went, not winning one of the heats.
Netherlands, Poland, attention.
So there's a huge roar, there'll be a lot of noise coming from the coxes. It's quiet before the start, but it goes mad as soon as the starter goes. And the Americans there look like they got the best start to me. I watched them last night doing some starts, they look so smooth. This is not necessarily smooth, wouldn't be the word, but it is aggressive from the German 8 as they get the boat up to speed as quickly as they can. And that's the thing with an 8, you need to get it up to speed as fast as you can, and then once it's up on speed, try and keep it there.
Enormous power across the 6 lanes here, and we're travelling with Great Britain. There's the blonde hair of Andrew Triggs, Hodge there in the stroke seat. Then it is Pete Reed picking it up.
Yeah, Pete Reed and then Alex Gregory behind, so it's the 3 big guns, the 3 guys who were in the Olympic gold medal 4 now in the stern of the Great Britain 8.
But as you said, a sharp start by the United States.
The United States got away well, and I'm interested to see what we're going to get when we do get up and have a look at the crews from the side. Because as I've said before, the crew that's leading at 500 is usually the crew that's leading at the end, and it's the Germans. Look at this, who've managed to put a big move in since we were last looking. Yeah, moving out towards half a length on the Americans, and in fact that's over half a length on the British.
And it's a pity we didn't see that decisive move, because it really is a commanding advantage at this state. And there are Germany, Lutske at the bow, and then Reinelt and Wilkie and Braun, Schmidt and Johansson and Martin Sauer.
Well, a 1:19.500 is quick. It's not super quick. They've just got away well, and they've got away better than anyone else. So we have to see. The Germans are used to this. They're used to getting up and getting away. Will the Americans, much more inexperienced, will the Americans be able to respond to it? And will the British, who've had a shaky time at this regatta, be able to improve on their position from now? It's very difficult when you're in an 8 and you get behind. But let's see what they can.
matching boat speeds. Maybe the Americans a little better, but you can see there the Americans, very, very good work on the Americans in this second quarter, because they've just held the Germans and maybe clawed back a little bit of that advantage. It was half a length, it's closer to what it was.
Yeah, perhaps the Germans might have gone out harder than they needed to. You can see the pain there on the face of Max Mudzki in the bow seat there. You can see it, he's already overworked it. Will it have been too much, or will he be able to keep going like that with that amount of pain that's already in his body, that amount of lactate that's already in his body, and keep it going? Because the Americans have responded and come back, as you say, in the second 500.
1,000 metres to go, final race of the regatta, and vying for third place now. Moving up on the Germans, they are also the Dutch, European bronze medalists. This is interesting. If the Dutch can be there or thereabout, they can also kick in and finish. Well,
eights racing is always going to be close. It's always going to be tight. I think the race going on at the front between the Americans and the Germans. I think at the moment, the bronze medal position, the Dutch have moved well against the British, and I wouldn't ever say the Poles or the French are out of this yet either, just because it is so tight. But here we see it. Martin Sauer there, looking to his left, looking for whether those Americans have moved. And what he's going to see is the Americans have moved. The Americans have come level with him at 12.50.
And you know, it's fascinating, isn't it? No disrespect to any other rower in any other boat. In America, as it is in Germany, the only boat that matters to the great big public in those countries is the men's eight.
Well, they do make it the blue ribbon event, and the Americans really want to win this, and they've made a big move here. For me, this is critical. First 500 the Germans got out. You don't often see this, that an eight then gets overhauled. Not a German eight, but they've been overhauled. It's going to be so hard for them to come back. The British want to try and take advantage of it. The British want to try and manage to move up and move away, but they're not going to have it their own way, because the Dutch are going to be right in there too.
500 metres to go in the final of the men's eights. United States, Germany, Netherlands and Great Britain fighting for bronze medal at the moment. Then Poland and France. France over and exposed on the far side of the regatta course. Poland on the near side. But it's all about America and Germany at the moment. The American men's eights, who in recent years lived in the shadow of their women's eight. Their women's eight, which set a new course record.
Well, the women's eights have been fantastic, but this sort of coached by Brian Volkenheim, who was in their eight in 2004, and also coached by Luke McGee. They'll be very pleased with what they're seeing, which is that they've got that advantage and they're hanging on to it. But I think the Germans are responding, and the Germans are coming back now. The British and the Dutch, nearly a length adrift. I can't see them getting into gold and silver. We've got step-ups coming on. The Cox is calling it, looking for more from the Americans, looking to respond to the Germans. This is so tight.
They are standing, they're up on their feet. It's man for man, seat for seat. And it's Zachary Vlahos at the moment versus Martin Sauer. Both calling for the plans. Look at this. The bow surging against Germany. Maybe a whisker ahead. America on the far side. Past the main enclosure. Just a couple of strokes to the line. And now America coming back there. And the USA in the last two strokes get back on the Germans to take a famous victory. The Dutch ahead of Great Britain. And then it'll be France ahead of Poland. And the finishing speed of the Dutch there in the last 250 metres, too much for the British. But what about the USA? They won the women's eights, now they've won the men's eights, and the men's eights they've won in a time of 5:22.26. The world best time of Canada's 5:19.35. So again, I guess I'm going to hear a high percentage from you.
It's going to be about 99% because they're 3 seconds off. But what an amazing race. I mean, that was toe-to-toe. The Germans were brave. They took it on in the first 500 like we all know you need to. But then they had to find more. And somehow they did manage to find more. It was just slugging it out between them. But it was good rowing. It was good technical rowing. But they were absolutely on the limits. And just a great performance, really, from the Americans. Disappointment for me watching here, seeing the British slipping back there. And not being in the race, because I know Jürgen Grobler and all of those boys will have wanted to be in the race for the gold, not in the race for the bronze. And as it was the Dutch, it was who slipped through and did get the bronze, and fair play to them. A new crew, they paced it well and they came back, and as you suggested they would, they had a good finish.
What an amazing regatta it's been. I mean, it's certainly been the regatta of the season, and you know, I was always looking forward to this. I mean, a lot of countries financially couldn't find the dosh to get down to Australia, so that was a little limited. then there were sort of clashes with the Mediterranean Games and we didn't get everybody at Eton, but here everybody's been here really pretty well.
Yeah, and isn't it fantastic to see everyone here, seeing an eights race like this, seeing this American crew that's made it over here, and you can just see, I mean, there's pain on the faces, and I want people to know that. I want people to know how hard rowing is, that it's not something that looks relaxed and easy because it's not painful. It looks relaxed and easy because these guys train so hard to prepare themselves to be able to do this.
And then you cross the line and you've won, and you sit up and you try to make out to all of your opponents that didn't hurt.
Well, you might try and do that in the heat and the semi. The Americans, look at them, able to just do the old X factor and feel like they've got something special, which the rest of the competition didn't. And today, I guess the Americans did have that X factor as their stroke man there rightly pointing out, and it was enough to keep them in front.
Couldn't wish for a better ending, and for the Americans, the other thing that was so good was the desire. Sorry, Greg.
Just seeing there on the American 8 there, the boat name Harry Parker written on the side of the boat there, the great Harvard coach who died only a few months ago, and was very much honoured at the Henley Royal Regatta, and seeing his name there written on the side of the American boat, something pretty special there, which maybe provides that little edge to carry you forward to win the gold medal when it comes down to something like that.